Hi. So I'm gonna do a video for question 42 because this is the one that I think a lot of people had trouble with. So this is just a preview of tomorrow. So the first thing that you need to remember is that when you have a power, let me just switch the pen color. When you have a power raised to another power, you multiply them. All right, so this is just, that's this like little note right here. Blah, blah, blah. So over here though, it's negative 54. Let's just split it up. Negative 54 to the 2/3 power. Let's leave that alone for right now. This is going to be x to the 9th to the 2/3 power. So we're doing 9 times 2/3. Again, we'll leave that alone for right now. And then this one right here on the bottom is going to be y to the 4th to the 2/3 power. All right, so I didn't do any multiplying yet, but this is 9 over 1, so I can simplify it to be x. 9 times 2 is 18, divided by 1 times 3 is 3. And look, that divides nicely. 18 divided by 3 is 6. So I'm going to replace that whole thing with just 6. So then I have this weird thingy over here. So this is going to be negative 54 to the 2/3 power times x to the 6 divided by, and I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom right here. 4 times 2 is 8, and there's a 1 on the bottom, imaginary. 1 times 3 is 3, so it's going to be 8/3 on the bottom. All right, so right away, right now, I could take a look at this, and I can see if I can get rid of any answers that are not going to work out. So I see that all of them have x to the 6th, x to the 6th, x to the 6th, x to the 6th, x to the 6th. So I can't cross out anything that way. So I'm going to see if I could go ahead and at least simplify the denominator and see if I can eliminate 2, because I see this is y to the 2nd, this is y to the 2nd, and y. So let's see if I can do some magic with the bottom, right? So this is y to the 8th, which is, remember, 8 y's, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 y's, and I'm splitting them up into groups of 3. So that's one group, 2 groups come out, and there's 2 left in. So since I'm breaking them up into groups of 3, right, I have 2 groups that come out, so it's going to be y squared. And then these 2 y's stay inside, so it's going to be y squared on the inside. So it's going to be y squared cube root of y squared. So automatically I can eliminate these 2. Okay, so now it's between B and D. All right, so I notice that the difference between B and D is this has an I in it and this does not. So if I'm going to have an imaginary number that comes out of this lovely little thing right here, right, then I know that my answer is going to be B. But if it's not, so this has an imaginary, this has a non-imaginary, non-I, or whatever you want to call it. All right, so let's see if we can play around with this lovely thing right there. The x to the 6th is literally just going to stay. So over here I have negative 54 to the 2/3 power. So I'm going to just rewrite that. So that's going to be negative 54. Let me just do that over here so I have a little bit more space. So it's going to be negative 54. There's going to be a cube root of it. And I'm going to raise that whole thing to the 2nd power. All right. So I'm looking for numbers that divide into 54, or like numbers that are like perfect cubes. And 54 is not, right? So there's no number that I can multiply by itself 3 times to give me 54. So I'm going to break this number down. Let's expand the page a little bit. That was definitely just to keep you awake. Somebody walked by my door and my dog just started barking. So I paused the video. Anyway, let me carry on. So I'm looking for numbers that multiply to give me 54. So I know that 27, my pen stopped working because Zoe scared the crap out of it. So 27 definitely comes out, and 27 times 2 is going to give me 54. So I'm going to put this negative sign along with that 27. So I'm going to do the cube root of negative 27 and the cube root of 2. So I know that 3 is the cube root of 27. right? So 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. So now, because there's a negative sign here, let me see if negative 3 works, right? So negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9, and positive 9 times negative 3 is equal to negative 27. So that works. So this final answer right here is going to be negative 3. And then I'm going to have the cube root of 2. All right. So this whole thing is going to get raised to the second power. It's going to go boop. So looking at that, I know that negative 3 squared is going to give me positive 9. And there's not going to be any imaginary number. So automatically I know that the answer is D. I agree with that. Let's just finish this off so we can get this cube root of 4. So we still have negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9, not negative 9. That's first. And then now I have the cube root of 2 squared, and 2 squared is going to give me 4. There we go. So we take this lovely thing and we stick it up there. So it's going to be 9. Let's move this x to the 6th over. And then it's going to be cube root of 4. All right, that's the whole thing. Sorry about my dog. More adventures tomorrow.